Welcome back to the show, y'all. Today we're talking about something that affects millions of people, but is still surrounded by myths and misunderstandings. Post-traumatic stress disorder, better known as PTSD. When most people hear PTSD, they immediately picture a soldier returning from war. While veterans certainly can develop PTSD, they're far from the only people affected. PTSD can develop after many different kinds of traumatic experiences. Today, we're meeting two people whose lives were changed forever by trauma, and later we'll hear from PTSD specialist Mary Michelle, who will help us understand what's really happening in the brain. Let's welcome our first guest.
I served 2 deployments overseas. I've been asked a lot over the years, what's the hardest part about coming home? The hardest part is remembering. We were running a convoy, just another mission. We joked with each other over the radio, complained about the heat, argued over whose turn it was to buy coffee when we got back. It felt normal. Then there was a flash. I remember the vehicle lifting. I remember everything going quiet. The convoy was gone. You spend years training to protect the people beside you, and then one day, you are the one who comes home. I've asked myself the same question more times than I can count. Why me? I still don't have an answer. People hear the letters PTSD and think it means someone is dangerous. They picture anger, violence. What they don't see are the birthdays you miss because crowds are overwhelming. The fireworks that make your heart race before your mind catches up. The guilt, the dreams, the silence.
I'd like to welcome our next guest, Army veteran Todd Rogers, to the show. Todd, thank you for joining us. Todd, thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I served in the United States Army for 6 years. During one deployment, our convoy was hit by an improvised explosive device. Several of the people I served with didn't make it home, unfortunately. I survived, but ever since that day, I haven't really felt like the same person.
Could you describe how your life hasn't quite been the same since then?
It's hard. Sometimes I'll hear fireworks or a car backfire, and before I even realize what's happening, my heart is racing. I start looking around for danger. I feel like I'm right back overseas. I know I'm safe, but my brain doesn't always believe that.
Has it affected your everyday life?
Absolutely. I avoid big crowds. I don't sleep very well because of the nightmares. My family tells me I'm always on edge. It's exhausting.
Joining us now is licensed PTSD specialist Mary Michelle. Mary, Todd knows he's sitting in a television studio. Why does his body react like he's still in combat?
Well, that's one defining characteristic of PTSD. Trauma changes the way the brain responds to reminders of a frightening event. A loud noise, a smell, or even certain locations can activate the brain's alarm system. Even though the person is objectively safe, their brain temporarily reacts, and as though the original danger has returned. Even though the person is objectively safe, their brain temporarily reacts as though the trauma has returned. And that's why PTSD is much more than simply remembering something unpleasant.
Thank you so much for your insight again, Mary, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Most people think PTSD only happens to soldiers. It doesn't. Mine started after a car accident that took the lives of several of my friends. People always ask why I laugh. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I laugh when I'm overwhelmed. It's just how I cope. Thunder doesn't sound like thunder to me. For a moment, it sounds like the crash. I know I'm safe, my brain just hasn't caught up yet.
I'd like to welcome our next guest to the show, Stephanie Samuels. Thanks for joining us today, Stephanie.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I noticed you laughed a little bit when you were walking out here.
Yeah. I know it probably seems strange. People think I'm laughing because I think it's funny, but I'm not. I actually laugh when I'm nervous or uncomfortable. I can't really control it.
Could you tell us what happened?
Years ago, I was in a car crash with several of my closest friends. We were hit by another vehicle. I survived, but several of my friends didn't. Sorry. I do that whenever I talk about it.
You don't have to apologize. Can you tell us how it affected your life?
Thunderstorms are really difficult. Whenever I hear thunder, my heart starts pounding. Sometimes I freeze. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I just laugh because I'm overwhelmed. For a few seconds, it feels like I'm back inside that car again.
Well, now I'd like to introduce our PTSD specialist, Mary Michelle, to the show. Mary, take a seat. Some people might be watching Stephanie laughing and think that she simply doesn't care. What's actually happening here?
Well, that's a common misunderstanding. People cope with trauma in many different ways. Some people cry, some people become emotionally numb, some people avoid talking about what happened altogether, and some people laugh or smile during extremely stressful conversations. This is called nervous laughter, and it's an involuntary coping mechanism to reduce overwhelming emotional stress. It does not mean the person thinks the traumatic event was funny or isn't important. That's why it's so important not to judge someone's emotional response.
I want to thank our guests, Stephanie and Mary, for joining the show today and giving us a little bit more insight in the world of PTSD. Let's talk about a few common stereotypes. People often believe PTSD only affects soldiers. Todd, what would you say to somebody who believes that?
Well, first of all, trauma doesn't belong to one's profession. I happened to experience mine during the war. Someone else might experience theirs in a car accident, such as Stephanie's, or after an assault or a natural disaster. Trauma is different for everyone.
Stephanie, have people ever misunderstood your PTSD?
All the time. People have told me it was years ago, you should be over it, or because they see me laugh, they assume I'm fine. They don't realize what I'm actually dealing with inside.
Well, I wanted to thank our guests, Todd Rogers and Stephanie Samuels, to the show today, and thank them again for giving us a little bit more insight in the world of PTSD. And I hope to keep in touch with y'all, and I'll hear from y'all again someday. Thanks for joining us again, Mary. Would you like to tell us some of your knowledge on stereotypes and how they might affect the victims of PTSD?
Absolutely. PTSD isn't a sign of weakness. It's a recognized mental health disorder that can happen after someone experiences or witnesses a traumatic event. The good news is that the effective treatments do exist. Therapies such as cognitive behavioral therapy or EMDR, along with strong social support, and in some cases, medication can help people recover and manage their symptoms.
Well, I'd like to thank you again, Mary, and hope you have a very good rest of your weekend. From what I understand, you just got a new puppy.
I did.
Okay, well, you better give that little puppy a lot of treats.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Dr. Phil.
Today, we've heard two different stories about two completely different people. Todd experienced trauma during military service. Stephanie experienced trauma in a devastating car accident that took her best friend's life. Different lives, different experiences, same disorder. That's why we can't rely on stereotypes to understand PTSD. When we replace assumptions with understandings, we make it easier for people to ask for help and easier for all of them to support us. Thank you all for being here.